As I sit here, wishing I had my mic. I'm not sure where our mics went, but I'm sitting here in contemplation, just taking a minute. Of course, the traffic wants to go by now. We are looking very close to the first day of spring here. Today is March 11th. It is almost 1 year since I had a tumor removed from my brain. Sitting here and saying that right now is just as shocking to me as the day I received the diagnosis. It is still hard to wrap my brain around something that extraordinary, something that caused so much concern and ongoing trauma. It's something that I'm dealing with every day now. Yes, the tumor is gone. Yes, it's been removed. My prayers are that it never returns, that there is nothing left. And very soon, that will be confirmed by my 1 year follow-up MRI. I've been flooded with so many emotions this past year. Emotions of despair, distraught. One of the biggest emotions has been fear in this new chapter or journey of my life, if you will. I deal with daily struggles and challenges that were not expected. This was not the outcome that I expected. And I know I sit here and I look probably quite normal to you. But I feel anything but. I still feel very broken and keep wondering when I will awaken from this nightmare. It's been a very emotional journey, to say the least. One that is really hard to explain to people that have not been through something like this themselves. Even my own family, that I'm very grateful to, that has stood by my side the entirety of this, what feels like forever journey. At the same time, I can't believe it's been almost a year. Every day I try to focus on the positive things that have come out of this. My growth in my character, my growing compassion for others, all of the obstacles that I've overcome that I never could have imagined. I'm still here for my family. Excuse the dog. People are using our driveway to back into their spot right now. I thought I would document this entire journey, but as it turned out, it was for me very personally too emotional to document the entirety of this journey. It's something that I could definitely write a book about. It's okay, Mira. Reaching for my... Lots of activity in the neighborhood right now. I'm going to pause for a minute. Hold on. I'm out here with my partner in crime. Oh, Mira. You saying hello? Oh, my buddy. You a big part of my healing. I am really out of practice. I just recorded for like the last minute and went to pause because of interruption and realized for that last minute I probably wasn't recording, and I don't want to go back right now and see what's missing. It is very active out here right now. I must have picked a really bad time to try and record out here, but I would really prefer to do this outside, but I may have to take it inside. I really would like to know where my mic sets were, because I'm not sure how much background noise or wind or whatever that you're picking up, but I'll do my best. As much as I try and focus on the positive things each day, because we're commanded in Scripture. And for those of you who don't know, I am a Christian. I'm a believer in Jesus Christ. I'm a believer of God. And I believe in the truth and the promises of the Word. And we're commanded to not dwell on the things that are around us, the circumstances of our daily lives, but to always look to the kingdom for our hope and our truth and our advice. And to those of us that seek the kingdom first, it says everything else will be added. The word also says in Matthew not to worry about the things of daily life, eating and drinking and what we wear. Yes, I'm not quoting verbatim here, but it's in there. This has been a real struggle for me this last year, to keep focusing on godly things and to not let my emotions get the best of me. And they have. I've had all the feelings. A friend likened it to that of like the death of someone you love. When I started out this journey, first with my confirmed diagnosis last year, just before Christmas, and keeping that to ourselves until after the holidays, and then realizing really quickly that we needed to make a decision that could be life-changing, something that could affect our everyday. And we didn't make those decisions lightly, but they were definitely made swiftly. The tumor I had in my brain had significantly grown, unbeknownst to me, through a previous MRI I had several years ago. It went unnoticed. Upon comparing the two MRIs, because my neurologist and my surgical ENT had requested them, to be quite honest, I had forgotten I had gotten that MRI. So I was advised, since the growth was significant and I was already having some effects of the tumor, bouts of dizziness and vertigo, and more recently some issues with hearing, that I needed to take matters into my hands, and we had to contemplate radiation or surgical removal of the tumor. So the next steps happened very quickly. We met with radiation or radiology, and we also met with the neurosurgeon and their team. And it was decided in my case that surgery would be my best option. Of course, there's risks to both, but seeing that the type of tumor I had, if we treated it with radiation and it didn't kill the tumor, it would make it more difficult to remove it, and it couldn't be done right away. Because of my age, there were different factors. They felt that at my age it would be safer to go for surgical removal, that I could still withstand the surgery, and that hopefully they could remove it all. So we proceeded with surgery. In recovery was quite hard. I'm still recovering. What was supposed to be a 6 to 8 week recovery has taken me almost a year with no real end in sight. I have suffered many deficits from the surgery, and it's hard not to go, what if? Or what happened? What went wrong? Or why? Why did this happen to me? I don't know if I'll know the answers. I don't know if my healing is done. The doctors now say it's a 2+ year recovery. I've had to pause this video so many times I keep losing my train of thought. I'm not really sure what I want this video to be. I don't know. I spend a lot of days complaining, if you will. Although I think it's warranted. Not that I have a right. I'm supposed to take every day and every trial as a learning and a trusting. But it's just been really hard. Like I said, I have very supportive family and friends, church family, friends that I haven't even met, that I've been friends with. And I know things could be far worse. My nice day is turning very chilly very quickly, and also I'm losing light. So this is probably like the worst video that I've ever recorded, because I know the light is bad, and I don't know if you could even hear me through half of this video. But if I didn't do it now, I wasn't going to do it. And I may even have to move inside because it's getting chilly. This has been the first nice day in literal weeks, but the night temps here are still in like the 20s and 30s, which it's better than it was. But I am getting pretty chilly, so I'm going to try to continue this. Where was I? You know, when your outlook is more positive, things can seem better. But in my case, I try my best to be grateful and have a really good outlook. But the position that I'm in with my current challenges right now, it's like when I get into what is like the real world, my challenges become more challenging. I don't know how much I want to get into right here. bike riders going by. When we went into this surgical procedure, the expectation was that things would be worse before they became better. And let me just backtrack for a minute, since I'm kind of jumping in the middle here. I only made one other video regarding my diagnosis, and that pretty much went to family and close friends. So I guess I should backtrack a little bit here. The type of brain tumor I had was called an acoustic neuroma or vestibular schwannoma, which is actually quite rare. I think it's something like 1 in 150,000 people get this diagnosis. Typically, it's a tumor that attaches itself to the vestibular nerves, which also affects your hearing nerves and can affect other nerves as well. It is quite scary, even though they assure you that it's not cancerous. They also very much underestimate the recovery and the potential for life-changing side effects. And again, I'll say, I'm no worse than anyone else, and I don't mean to belittle anyone else's recovery or their outcomes, because they're quite varied. I was supposed to have a fairly quick normal recovery. The type of procedure that they performed on me was called, I gotta get my bearings again. Hold on a second. A retrosigmoid approach. I guess there are 3 typical approaches: retrosigmoid, mid-fossa, and translabyrinth approach. With translabyrinth approach, or translab, typically, I can't tell you exactly the location and how these are performed. That's way out of my league. All I know is with the translab approach, you lose your hearing. There's no coming back. With the mid-fossa and retrosigmoid, there is a chance to preserve your hearing. And for me, that was supposed to be the best option for that. I had a 50-50 or 60-40, as my neurosurgeon said, chance of preserving my hearing, but I had high hopes. Also, they were not afraid of a lot of the other possible outcomes, like temporary or permanent facial paralysis. They do remove the vestibular nerves. I don't think there is any way around that. I've never heard of preserving those nerves. So essentially what my brain is doing is the nerves on my right side, this may be the opposite for you looking at me, have been completely removed, which it was such a hard thing for me to wrap my mind around that. But apparently your brain can compensate. And in most, I don't want to say most because I don't know the statistics, but typically our brains are very amazing and are capable of learning how to compensate for that. It requires perseverance and persistence, and to my understanding, most cases require vestibular physical therapy to gain those functions back. I gotta pause here a minute. I think I'm gonna move inside. Bear with me. It did get too cold for me out there. I couldn't stay out there. I don't think I'm going to make this video much longer because I keep having so many interruptions and I'm not exactly sure what I want to get out, but I feel like it was important for me to get some of this out. I don't know if it's a way for me to move forward because we can't go back. As much as I would like to go back, as much as I would like to say, had I had the choice to do it over, that I would not have chosen surgery. And what that means could possibly have been not much better of an outcome, maybe worse. I don't know how aggressive that this tumor that was invading my headspace, I don't know how quickly symptoms would have escalated. So there really is no point in talking about that now, is there? It's just hard. It's hard. I think that I want to record this because it allows me a chance to fully express my feelings, and I don't know how many more of these I will do. But coming to terms with the effects of surgery, my inability at this time to not be able to drive my vehicle. I currently use a walking cane in combination with my husband when we go out to public places for my safety, for my balance issues. I graduated myself from a walker, although a cane is not going to stop me from having a fall. It's just to give me more of a sense of balance and to help me. I daily live with extreme balance and dizzy issues. Some days are worse than others. I've noticed that I think weather contributes. If you see me doing that, when I'm out in public, I'm conscious of my sinus. I have sinus issues. I did get temporary facial paralysis. If you're familiar with like a Bell's palsy or somebody who's had a stroke, immediately following surgery, I didn't have any control of my right side. So a lot of people could say that I've come a long way, and I have. There were many tears along the way, many days of looking into a mirror and willing my face to smile and to move. It was really hard. It is really hard. Back in October, I was still struggling. See, when you come out of this surgery, with most people I've seen, it affects your eye. You can't close your eye. It was months before I could close my eye, and I had to wear a patch to sleep. Back in October, I was almost normal. I was still aggravated I would notice the bulginess, and I still do when I'm tired. But not long after the end of October, I developed what they call synkinesis, which I've taken my glasses off and I'm being vulnerable. I'm not sure how much is going to get picked up on the camera. I do try to avoid people seeing it, but I've developed this synkinesis, which is an involuntary contracting of the muscles in your face with certain movements that cause my eye to close when I eat or drink or do certain facial movements when I smile big. I don't know what contributed to this. Upon my reading, it suggests that my facial PT was a little bit too aggressive on my part, or I wasn't monitored correctly, possibly. And it's to my dismay and fear, quite honestly. I'm afraid that my face will not straighten itself out. It's not just about pride. It's not about my appearance, but it is. That's the first thing people see, right? But it's functionality. The temporary paralysis caused a collapse of different things in my nose, and I can't breathe properly through the right side, which when I'm congested from allergies or other breathing issues, it makes it extremely difficult. Right now, I'm covering up the difficulty of my breathing at the moment because all I want to do is do facial contortions so I can get myself to breathe. It contributes to my lack of sleep at night, which has been extremely challenging. You know, we all need sleep to recover and get better. And that, already having been a night owl for so many years, but I think something happened in the surgery that contributed to me not being able to sleep properly at night. And I do my best. I'm trying different things out right now to try and get my sleep back on track. Sorry, I had to pause again. The dog. We're inside and she's hearing everything outside. There's all the spring things are starting to happen. So my apologies. So yeah, my face, I get excessive tearing sometimes when I eat. It's quite annoying to look in certain directions, like over that way. It impairs my vision somehow. Facial expressions, it's been, the terms like people use are like a fish on a hook. I know they're referring to the eye too when it's open wide, but right now I know that at rest my face looks fairly normal, but I still feel very much tightness here. There's pain in different spots here and here. A lot of pain in here, some pain in here. And along here, the jawline, there's pain. And most recently, I get facial spasms or cramps that are quite painful. They're random. It doesn't seem to be any particular thing that causes them. I was continuing with my PT, but even some of those movements can cause it to cramp up, and it brings me to tears, literally. I was dismissed from my vestibular PT, which is for balance, and my facial PT. I was dismissed from the vestibular due to lack of improvement, which was quite disappointing. And I was dismissed from my facial therapy before my synkinesis developed. I'm sorry, excuse me, rubbing my nose. So I don't know where we stand right now. These are just a handful of the things that I'm dealing with. I don't know if more therapy is in order. There's been talks of things like Botox, which terrifies me. More surgery, I don't want. I haven't met with my doctor for my 1 year yet. That will be hopefully happening. We have a telehealth first, and I'm hoping to still meet with him, and that maybe he can send me to his facial specialist. It's been nonstop specialist. I've been to 2 other sinus specialists because my surgical ENT is primarily, he deals with the dizziness, and he deals with ear issues. The surgery left me with no viable hearing in this ear. It didn't go right away. It was gradual, which raises a lot of question to me. I guess that's unusual, but he did say fairly recently that after the swelling went down inside my brain and my head, that it could have gone away gradually. I had in October an audiologist appointment that confirmed no viable hearing. And due to that, my hearing nerve was preserved, but it was just aggravated just enough that it caused my hearing to go. They're saying that I'm not eligible for cochlear implant or typical hearing aid devices. I am eligible for something they call ossia, which is something that is like a bone conductor. It will transfer sound from this non-hearing ear to my hearing ear, which I know doesn't make any sense, but that's what it does. Maybe I'll go into that in more detail at another time. The other thing that I'm eligible for is what's called a cross hearing aid or bi-cross hearing aid. There's two different types, and I can't remember which they said I was eligible for. But it basically does the same thing that the surgical implant would do, only it's just like a microphone and a receiver that look like typical traditional hearing aids. I haven't done any of that yet, but the hearing loss has also been overwhelming. Even though I can't hear, everything is amplified and it causes crowded or loud situations. Even just being at home, if the family's too loud, it causes extreme anxiety and overwhelm, which has been really hard to explain and communicate with people. And that being said, that raises a whole host of more fears. Fear of losing hearing in my good ear. Fear of more surgeries. It's just all this fear. And I know, as I said in the beginning of the video, that I'm a Christian and I'm not supposed to have fear. And I wish that I was grounded enough in my faith to be able to say I don't have fear and God's got this. I know that He does. But there are just a lot of things that I don't understand. I know it's not meant for us to understand everything. But this is where I sit right now in the process that I'm going through. And in order to make this not any longer, I'm going to end this right here, right now. And I'm just going to sit with this for now. My 1 year anniversary is coming up. And I've survived something that almost no one I know in my real life, in my inner circle, has not had the experience of surviving. I like to think of myself as a warrior, and I survived this. By God's grace, I survived this. I'm sitting here right now, talking to this camera, talking to you, because God chose to keep me here, to do something more. And I don't know what that looks like right now. And I'm struggling with that right now too. But for whatever His purpose is, He's decided to keep me here a little bit longer. So here I am. I'm still here. I still have a lot of life left to live. I still have more to share and more to learn. And I just pray that God continues to give me peace and more strength to get through this new journey, this new chapter, one that was completely not expected. This is not the chapter I was expecting here right now in my early 50s. We'll see what God has planned for me, and maybe I'll share more together with you. Enjoy this beautiful day. It is about 60 degrees where I am today. I hope you're having some sun where you are, and some sun, because there have been times in this journey where I simply could not have made it through without my Lord and Savior. That's the truth. Even with all the family around me, sometimes it's a very lonely journey. I'll leave you with that. Until next time. Bye now.